Hey guys, it's Ken Maxfield, the Hide Guy, and here's your market recap for the week ending November the 30th. Week started out on big packer hides. With perceptions, there was a fair number of hides sold the second half of the week prior. That would be the time following or during our Thanksgiving holiday break. Multiple reports of various sellers saying that they had sold a lot of hides. In fact, we spoke to several people who said they had great weeks. What became very interesting is when offers came out last week, as they were still fairly populated. In fact, as populated as the week prior. And the most interesting thing about it was nearly every selection offered could ship in December. Now, if y'all remember back to about the second half of October, there were lots of claims by packers. They were sold through the end of the year. You bought any hides, they'd be after January shipment, maybe even as far out as early February. So that was very surprising. The other thing as far as offers, again, lots and lots and lots of jumbo, super jumbo hides, a lot of native steers, regular weights, butts as well. And that's due to the slowdown in the automotive on the natives and the butts. The jumbos, the cattle are coming in. They're heavy, folks. They're going to remain heavy. They're not going to lighten up anytime soon. Winter's here. Cattle have been overfed. There's a lot of numbers standing. So that's why you're seeing all those offered. As far as the cow hides, same situation. Offer list not much different than the week prior. Most guys were trying to hold offer prices as close to steady as possible. Others were lowering prices by $1 to $2. As far as interest last week, the general consensus of the trade was it wasn't a very active week of interest by buyers. Not many hides exchanging hands, partly because the producers just don't want to take substantially lower prices. They'll negotiate, but they don't want to take $2, $3 down, so or even more. So I would say as far as trading last week, there were a limited number of sales, levels $1, $2 down on both big packer and cow hides. There were lots of rumors accusing all of the various packers of trying to do business direct with tanners very quietly. They don't want any of us to hear about some of the prices that are being done, because if the rumors are true, they would be substantially lower than some of the prices being reflected on the price guide. So as far as the harvest last week, that came in at 643,000. That's substantially higher than the week prior. That was shortened by the holiday at 573, and it's equal to the same week last year at 643,000. That harvest number is going to stay up there, folks. It's not going to back off. There's lots of animals. Packers are making money. The one thing to keep an eye on, though, is export demand for boxed beef is starting to slow the last 2-3 weeks. In fact, it had been running well above levels of a year ago. It's running back closer to equal to levels of a year ago. Believe a lot of that's due to the tariffs and the slowdown in the economy, predominantly in China, which is, again, part of the situation surrounding the trade war with the U.S. If that continues, look for packers to probably slow that harvest down a little bit. That's not good news for cattle weights, because they'll start continuing to back up. They'll get even heavier, and these heavy hides will continue. As far as the export report last week, it was a bit of an encrypted report. Remember, Thursday was a holiday in the States, so a lot of the reporting didn't happen until Friday. A lot of the sales during that week were late in the week, so I don't think they got on this report. So that said, the whole cattle hide sales were 322,500. That's about down 1% from the week prior. It's down 7% for the 4-week average. Export of wet salted hides, 426,600. That's up 7% from the previous week, but it's down 6% from the 4-week prior average. I think that's a direct reflection on how heavy we'd been shipping to China up until that point, because they wanted hides to arrive before the 1st of January in fear those tariffs were going higher January 1. Sales of wet blue at 77,700 is nothing to write home about. It's 26% lower than last week, but it's 1% higher than the 4-week average. That just goes to confirm what we've been saying. Wet blue sales have not been enough to keep pace with the number of hides being produced. And as far as the exports of wet blue hides 113,600. That's up 7% from the previous week, up 9% for the 4-week average. Although it's better, and that's great news, it's still fallen well short of the production, which we pegged that wet blue production somewhere around about 150 to 165,000 every week. Let's take a quick trip around the globe as we try to wrap up here. Reports from Europe are unchanged from what they have been. The slowdown by the automotive tanners in Europe due to poor car sales is really having a negative impact on that bull market and heavier weight hides. There's plenty around. Prices are off close to about 10 cents a kilo in the last 3 weeks. Producers struggling to keep that material moving. Like here in the States, cow hides are people who produce them are loaded for bear as far as unsold inventory. Lots of product in warehouses. Rumors that there is a pretty large producer of European cow hides traveling in Asia last week. Very aggressive for sales. This situation on the cow hides in general for around the world is being compounded by the fact the tanners in Hebei, who are pretty large tanners on the furniture trade, buy a lot of cows, continue to be closed because the government is cutting their power due to pollution issues. So overall in Europe, prices continue to be under pressure, just as they are here in the States. Down in Brazil, no change there. Continues to be pressure. They produce a lot of lower grade material. They're struggling to keep up and keep pace, I should say, with the harvest as far as sales. They're having to discount product to keep it moving. And, there's lots of rumors of even lower levels than what's being reported on our price guide. So as far as Australia, that harvest is starting to slow down as it normally does this time of year. They're just a few weeks away from their traditional shutdown period over the Christmas and New Year's holiday. However, in spite of the fact that they're going to have a lot of plants closed here in the next few weeks, they're under pressure. They've taken less money as well. So overall, globally, there continues to be more hides produced than there is demand. What we have to wait and see here with the announcement that China and the U.S. are going to call a truce, on the trade war, it will be interesting to see, if any of these brands who are holding orders start to place their leather orders because they weren't sure how things are going to play out come January 1st. Let's keep an eye on that. I'm not thinking we're going to see, the cherubs start singing because of all these orders, but it might be enough to at least perhaps ground this decline on prices, maybe try to stabilize the market, which wouldn't be a bad thing, and I don't think anybody would think that would be horrible. So keep an eye on things there. If prices are to change, I'm still leaning they go lower before they go higher. I think, the overall situation is not going to warrant prices going higher. So that's it for this week. Hide Guy Ken Maxfield. Check out my website, www.themaxfieldreport.com. I do offer 14-day free trials. Until next week, we'll talk to you then.